Swimming like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it's sink or swim.
Hey everybody, welcome to the post-show wrap-up of the Shrimp Tank Podcast. I'm your host, Rich Jensen, along with my co-host, David Sims, and our special guest today, Tommy Keet of, I like to say of Tzatziki's, because that's what everyone really knows. Tzatziki's and Petite and Keet Restaurant, kind of a local landmark for the last, 8-9 years? So,
yes, sir.
Here in Central Arkansas, and now all over Arkansas and Oklahoma. Hey, every week we like to bring you a wrap-up of some of the highlights from our interview, and we just had a great time talking with Tommy, learning the inside of the restaurant business and some of the challenges there, or some of the how to have success. So I'm sure you'll want to listen to the entire podcast at arkansas.shrimptankpodcast.com. So, yeah, great show, David.
That's right, Rich. It was a great show. You'll want to listen to it. You'll learn a lot. His bio took up about half of it, so he's got
like
his
a
hands in all
slacker
kinds
just
of
listening
things,
to the bio.
A lot more impressive on paper, as we discussed.
But no, you know, Tommy, you told a story about one of your staff people at a Tzatziki's, and it's just a powerful story because it illustrates the culture that you are trying to establish, you and your dad and your brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell our listeners about that.
It was after we opened our Chenal location. We had an amazing staff, which we still have 50% of them or 75% of them still work for us 5 years later, which is unheard of in the restaurant business.
It's not that 50% of them are still amazing. It's you still have 50% of them.
Yeah, that's right. And they are amazing, actually. But I remember we'd been open a couple months, and Christmas came around, and we had a guy that started as a dishwasher, $8.50 an hour, kind of overlooked, I think, at other jobs, kind of fast food, transplant, kind of Taco Bell, KFC, a couple other places like that. And we pulled him aside and said, "Merry Christmas, here's a $50 bill, and we're going to raise you to," I think it was $9.50 at that time. It was either a 50 cent or a dollar raise. And he teared up, and he was like, "Thank you so much. This means so much to me." And he worked even harder. And now he's a general manager of one of our stores.
Wow.
And so
that's great.
Advice to listeners would be, don't overlook people that are often overlooked.
Yeah.
I mean, try to watch their work ethic and
And as a follow-on to that, you talked about how, you're always trying to hire A people.
That's right.
And you said A's hire A's, but B's hire C's. Tell viewers a little bit about that.
It's just one of those things that we've learned. I mean, your best guys are going to hire your best people, and they're going to continue because they're going to ask more of them.
Right.
Don't leave your hiring to your B's, because they will hire C's.
Yeah.
A's are going to hire A's, B's are going to hire C's.
Yeah.
It's different than the old thing about the A students work for the B students who are run by companies that
That's
for
right.
the C students.
That's right.
That doesn't work in the restaurant business.
A's are judges in law school, B's
Right.
B's are professors, and C's are millionaires.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
C's,
So
the C's, the B's work for the C's.
The ABCs of the students is not the same as the ABCs of the restaurant
That's
business.
right.
That's the
That's right.
lesson there.
You also talked about the best piece of advice for somebody thinking about going into the restaurant business.
Right.
And you talked about, the importance of listening to your customers, which you actually have a different word. You train your people
Right.
to talk about. Talk about that.
Well, it was first piece of advice if you're going into the restaurant business is be prepared to work. Success.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It doesn't come quick, and if it does, don't get complacent. Make sure that you work hard every day to maintain that. And then this was a new thing that I was talking to a friend about, and he mentioned this, and so it's something we're trying to impart. When someone walks in that restaurant, don't think of them as a customer. Think of them as a guest. They're like a guest in your home. Someone that they're just not a walking dollar sign. They are actually there to be greeted and have a meal with you, and that's an important part of our culture.
Yeah,
so
really is.
appreciate them for coming in.
Yeah.
Well, Tommy, we want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. I'm sure our viewers and the podcast listeners are really going to benefit from it. If you haven't heard the entire podcast, be sure to go to arkansas.shrimptankpodcast.com. You can listen to the entire episode as well as all of our past episodes. You can also go to YouTube, which you may be there right now, or you may be watching this video on our website. But you can also go to YouTube. We do have a YouTube channel. You can catch all of these post-show wrap-ups. Tommy, for someone who's maybe has never been to Tzatziki's,
Right.
okay, or they've never been to Petite and Keet, how would they find the location, or if they want a job to be, end up a general manager?
Or if they want to pick your brain about being an entrepreneur and
Yeah, how do they get a
restaurants.
hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go for locations, you can go to www.tzatziki'scafe.com.
And I can vouch for the food.
Hey, there we go. Or petiteandkeet.com to look there. And if you have questions about getting in this business, I try to be a mentor to people and talk honestly about it. My email address is tkeet, that's Keet, at tzatziki'scafe.com.
Great.
Great.
Well,
That's
thanks
great.
again, Tommy. Next week on the Arkansas Shrimp Tank podcast, we'll have Paul Kroger of Granite Transformations. Again, we like to have people that I personally or David personally has done business with, and I can tell you, we get a lot of compliments on our kitchen. So you want to hear about that business, hear about Paul, he and his, I think it's his in-laws. That'll be interesting. We'll have to ask Paul, what's it like to work for your in-laws or
That's
work
right.
with your in-laws?
Yeah.
So you won't want to miss next week. Until then, be safe and have a great week. Remember, arkansas.shrimptankpodcast.com to catch all of the podcasts.